A lot of you who are looking to go to medical school, just started, or are simply looking to improve your work-life balance may be wondering, do medical students get any free time at medical school, or are we just meant to be robots that eat, sleep and breathe Anki? Hi guys, my name is Aymara and I am a second year medical student at the University of Nottingham. I've decided to film this video where I tell you exactly how I spend my free time at medical school and how I achieve a healthy work-life balance. Now there will be timestamps in the description, and as always make sure to like, subscribe, turn on the post notifications and follow all my socials. Before I get into how I time manage these days, I want to make it clear that it hasn't always been easy breezy and I haven't always had a healthy work-life balance. Come first year, when I first got into medical school, I was completely overwhelmed by not only the difficulty of the content we were learning, but the intensity of the workload. And I literally spent the whole year not ever feeling like I was on top of things. I didn't have any super-curricular or extra-curricular activities. I'd literally spend day in and day out doing lectures. Now this doesn't mean I was spending hours studying effectively, making revision resources. I wasn't even accomplishing being able to study well, simply because I was so bored and unmotivated that I really couldn't focus on anything. However, second year has been a dream. I've been able to get involved in lots of different activities, I have a well-rounded life, and I'm doing better at medical school, funnily enough, even though I'm spending less time studying. So your timetable at medical school will vary massively. Some weeks I have 18 lectures a week, whereas on some weeks I can have just 4. And as a pre-medical student, these sessions are mostly lecture-based, with one practical anatomy or clinical skills session per week pre-COVID times. These lectures will involve anatomy and physiology, pathology and pharmacology. So now I'm going to split up the activities that I do in my free time into 4 categories: revision, super-curricular activities, extra-curricular activities and socialising. And I'm going to have a little talk to you guys about why each of these categories are so important. When I'm not doing lectures, I will be creating revision resources that I can use come exam season. So some of my revision time goes on creating Anki flashcards on the anatomy block that we're studying at the moment, such as neuroanatomy or the anatomy of the pelvis, and then I'll be going through these Anki flashcards come exam season as part of my anatomy revision. Or I'll be editing previous lecture notes to make sure that they're concise and easy to revise from, or I'll be creating active recall questions from my lecture notes, which I can then use, as I said, as part of my revision method come exam season. The reason it's so important to create your revision resources as you go throughout the year, and I recommend this for medical students, for A-level students, is because when it comes to the end of year, instead of having to spend so much time creating the revision resources, which doesn't actually help you learn the content, you can have these ready. So come exam season, you can simply use them and start learning and understanding the information straight away. And on top of that, active recall is one of the best evidence-based methods to revise, so you're making sure that your revision methods are actually effective. So now let's move on to super-curriculars. Now, super-curriculars are activities that are related to medicine but are beyond the scope of your curriculum. So I'm part of a mentoring scheme called PsychStart, where you're partnered with a consultant psychiatrist in the area who basically guides you through a career in psychiatry. So this year I'm taking part in an essay prize hosted by the Workload psychiatrist, and the title they've released is, "In these times of significant social change, how can issues such as deprivation and poverty and inequality, including ethnicity, affect the mental health of children and young people today?" And I'm actually only a few days from submitting my essay, so fingers crossed. Also, I'm part of a lot of medical societies of specialties that I'm interested in. So I'm part of the Emergency Medicine Society, Psychiatry Society, and the Anaesthesiology Society, and so I'll attend like a lecture or 2 throughout the year for each of these societies, which will be on a topic that we haven't covered in the lectures given by the medical school. Getting involved in super-curriculars has massively boosted my motivation and willingness to study. This is because, let's face it, preclinical medicine is boring. It's just lectures day in, day out on topics like cells, which, because I haven't started my clinical medicine phase, I'm not suturing, I'm not actually learning how to save lives. So by getting involved in these super-curricular activities, it's like you remind yourself what you're working towards, and you come away from them feeling really motivated, feeling really energized, and thinking, you know what, I want to put in the work today because I can't wait to get to the stage where I can start doing the things that I'm really actually passionate about. So your extracurriculars are non-medicine related activities. Obviously, I'm a YouTuber, so a lot of my free time goes on planning, filming, and editing videos, which actually takes a lot of time, and building my brand on social media platforms. However, I also have other sources of income, such as tutoring. So I tutor 3 times a week, a range of different students from the ages of 11 to 18. And I work on creating listings for my Depop shop, where I sell really paying 90s and Y2K garms. Feel free to check out my Depop, which will be linked here and in the description. And I also like to try and schedule in time to work out, which kind of gets difficult because it's hard to set aside time for something that's physically painful. So extracurriculars are so important because they give you a chance to step away from medicine, to declutter your mind of anything medicine related and recharge. It means that you stay being a well-rounded individual and that you have a life outside medicine, which is so important because you can't let medicine consume you. You have to be your own person before you are a doctor. And actually it's really important to have these extracurricular activities because they can be used as coping mechanisms at times when medicine gets hard. Also, it can be an opportunity to earn a little bit of money on the side and to socialise with friends. And now let's move on to socialising. Now I make sure to have something scheduled in with my friends at least once a week. Whether this is the Friday night sesh, or now that we're in COVID, it means like going to get takeaway coffee on Saturday mornings or something like that. Recently me and my friends actually discovered the electric scooters, and that has been so fun. You literally feel like you're like on a hoverboard going so fast. Oh my god, it's the funnest thing ever. And this means that I have to forcibly take time away from work, away from even other things which could be classed as productivity activities such as YouTube, etc., to just do something which is 100% fun, 100% has no deadlines or expectations. And to help me do this, I now have a routine where on Saturdays it's completely free. I can't do any work, and it's basically my day to do chores or to just watch TV or just to have a massive lie-in, and I'd really recommend that you guys do this too. Now I'm going to move on to some tips that I have for you to achieve a good work-life balance. My first tip is to invest in a planner that works for you. This is mine. As you can see, it's quite pen, quite sleek. If you guys want a video on how I use my planner, then please let me know. I won't show you that one because I've only just started it. This is my old planner, and as you can see, I definitely made the most of it. And the reason for this is that you need to schedule everything. Now, disclaimer, this does not mean that you need to be productive or doing something for every second of the day, not at all. But you need to schedule in time for self-care into your timetable because that is just as important as your curriculum. And by scheduling in every hour of the day, it means you're making the most of every day, and you don't just let hours where you're not really sure what you're meant to be doing, so you guiltily go on your phone, but you shouldn't really be going on your phone because technically you could be doing things that you find more enjoyable or that are more useful. So by scheduling in every hour of the day, as I said, you're making the most of each hour. My second tip is to take shortcuts. Do not add more to your to-do list than you need to, and don't be guilty about copying and pasting a lecture from osmosis if you need to. Why try and come up with original content? It's medicine, for goodness sake. You can't come up with original content. And don't be scared to miss a lecture or two if you look at the lecture slides or you join the Zoom call and honestly everything seems like a mess, because I'm sure there are more efficient and effective ways to achieve the learning objectives than perhaps attending that lecture. And my last tip is to accept the never-ending to-do list. With medicine, there is no end to how much you can learn and understand about the human body. There's always more work that you could be doing. There's always further reading that you could do. There is always more revision resources that you could be making. Like, you could make 10 times as many Anki flashcards, or you could practice 10 times as many drug calculation questions. However, at this stage, you're not expected to be an expert. And secondly, prioritizing your mental health is so much more important. And that's what's actually going to help you succeed at every stage of medical school. In conclusion, what I'm trying to say is, it may not feel like it, but the less time you allocate towards studying, the more effectively you'll be able to study in your scheduled study blocks, and the more your mental health is gonna benefit from it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, make sure to like, subscribe, turn on the post notifications, leave a comment, I love reading them, and follow me on my socials. See you in the next one.